friend, and welcome to Lesson 5, Pushing Through the Fear. Not ignoring the fear, not denying the fear, not pretending the fear isn't there. Pushing through the fear. The only way to move through something is to move through it. You can't go around it. You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You gotta go through it. So we're going to push through that fear. You ready? I'm thinking you said yes. Here we go. Fear itself is a natural emotion. There actually is nothing wrong with feeling some fear. It would actually be abnormal if you never felt any fear. So that's normal. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. The problem, the challenge comes in when you let fear control your life. When you give the voice of fear more power than you give the voice of possibility or of trust. So fear in and of itself is very normal. It's what happens when we feel the fear that we just go and we just freeze up and we get stuck and we stay there. And we feel like we can't move or can't breathe. That's exactly what we need to do is we need to move, take a step. We need to breathe and say, okay, I'm aware that I'm feeling something, fear. And my head is taking me down a road that I am not liking. And I am aware that I can make another choice and I can take an action to do something different. That right there, step 2, step 3, step 4. And what I'm going to do different is I'm going to give you a little tool that works really well for me. So if I have a fear or I have a negative thought that really is taking a lot of my attention, just keeps pulling at me. So let's say the fear is, I'm going to give you one that a lot of parents can relate to. I have a fear that that something's going to happen to my child when he goes in the car for the first time. Okay? And so like when they first start driving, right? And it feels like you're like losing control and you have no choice and all of those things happen. But we got to push through that fear because it's highly unlikely that you are going to be able to get your 16-year-old child who is eventually going to grow and grow and grow and grow to never get in a car, to never drive a car. And we wouldn't want to do that anyway. So what we do to push through the fear, this is what it would look like in my world, is, okay, I have that fear, that's the thought, I'm consciously aware of it. In this present moment, I am seeing this is where I'm focused. And what I do is I look at that fear and I actually acknowledge it. I would do the same thing with negative thoughts. I acknowledge it. Well, hello, friend, old friend, fear. You've been a friend for me because you somehow have talked me into somehow allowing me to believe that you're here to keep me safe. So, hello, old friend. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that you're afraid that something's going to happen to my child when they get in the car. Thank you for sharing. But I'm not interested. I do not choose to live in fear any longer. And instead, I'm choosing, and then whatever your choice is, to trust that there are millions and millions and millions of teenagers that get in a car and drive once they turn 16 that are safe and happy and joyful, and that my child will be one of those as well. So here's the little script. It doesn't matter what the fear is, but I want you to do this with some of the fears that tend to come up for you often. Okay? So you might need to do this 3 or 4 times or 8 or 10 times. And I think there's a lot of value in saying it out loud. So can you write it? Yes, and that's good to see it on paper because it gets it out of your body. So I like for you to write it. But then I want you to say it out loud 2 or 3 or 5 or 12 times. And I actually would do this right wherever I am, unless you're concerned that people are going to, be looking at you crazy or whatever. But so whatever it is that the fear is, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing my fear around blah, 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 blah. I am not interested. It's a statement, a fact. It's a very neutral fact. I'm not angry and I'm not joyful. I'm just not interested. And I choose, and then whatever it is that's a positive that you're choosing to put your attention towards. Thank you for sharing. I'm not interested. I'm choosing to focus on this. That's it. When we start to address our fears and we acknowledge them, we allow them to come up out of our body. They're no longer suppressed. And when we acknowledge them, we're not pushing them down. When we push them down, they keep coming back up. A couple of steps ago, I talked about the beach ball and holding that energy down. That's like fear. You hold it down, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it just takes over your whole life. We're not going to do that. So choose right now. We're going to push through that fear. And I am going to allow that energy of fear to come up, and I'm going to allow it to come out. And I'm going to acknowledge it. And then it can move. Fear-based thoughts keep that energy alive. We just talked about commitment and consistency in lesson 4. I don't want you to be committed and consistent with your fears. We want to let those fears go. So we're acknowledging them and we're bringing them up so that we don't perpetuate that energy of fear. You with me? The other thing you could do, if you wanted to, was tune into your body in those moments that you're feeling the fear and just notice where it's living and how it grows. Oftentimes, you see your body react immediately once you have the thought. Your body reacts immediately, and it has been so well trained into fear. Sometimes that's why it feels so real, my friend. But it's been training. It knows how to react based on a lifetime of training. So please don't let what happens in your body make you feel like you can't make a new choice, that there isn't another way to go, because there is. You just have to start retraining your body. And the way you're going to retrain your body is to retrain your mind. And the way we're going to retrain our mind is we're going to start acknowledging that fear and pushing through it.